Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, June morning. How's that? Because I have no idea. I have no idea what today even is. What?
You're talking about
the date.
Yeah.
Happy Monday, June the 3rd, everybody. Good to see everyone. Glad y'all are here this morning. Let's get started. We have a lot to talk about.
We do.
No, actually, that would be the perfect spot where if you had, you know how those people can hit sound buttons and it'll be like breaking glass, and then if I did that and then it was like cricket, 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 cricket. We have so much to talk about this morning. First off, that would be perfect, but we don't have that. Do we, or is it just something else you're not willing to pay for?
I don't know if I could probably figure out how to do that, but here's the thing.
It's not that big of a deal.
You'll never bring it up again, and you'll only bring it up like in the moment, like right now. Like, can you do it this second? And that answer will always be no.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong about that.
And not reminding me ever again until 3 weeks from now on a live, you go, if we could do crickets, I told you about that, and why didn't you already do that? That doesn't count either.
Okay. Y'all, pardon me.
She got a bit of a hack.
Got a hacking cough. Nothing else feels sick, but I do got a hacking cough. Hey, I saw this TikTok the other day. On Saturday evening, I saw a TikTok, and it was someone in Nashville who they were going out to get coffee that morning, and it was kind of rainy weather. They were going out to get coffee, and they were filming, and they were like, "What is this line?" And it was a line down the street and like around a building. And it was a line for people waiting to get into Morgan Wallen's new bar.
Oh.
What are you doing trying to get into a bar at 9 a.m. in the morning? David,
some people
explain this seedy side of life to me, because I'd never lived it. I've never stepped foot in a bar, and I'm never gonna.
I don't feel
unless it's Morgan Wallen's.
I don't feel like the people lining up at 9 a.m. are your average, bar goers.
You don't?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm not saying that some of them aren't, but I feel like the majority of those are just, do you think you'll be here? I want to be able to say I was here on the first day.
He's going to be carrying out trays with French fries on them.
I want to, get the original t-shirt before it sells out, that kind of stuff.
Goodness gracious.
I don't know. There may be a few of them that got there at 9 and hung out until they asked him to leave at 2.
Amy Roberry, one of our viewers today, wrote, "Wouldn't Morgan Wallen go to a bar at 9 a.m.? And I find that offensive. As I've told you guys before, my feelings on Morgan Wallen are hurt people hurt people.
Actually accurate. But
we don't even know that. But then there was another one I saw where people had taken like videos of inside of it that night, and it's very nice. I think I've never been in a bar. One time I went to eat at Margaritaville, but even that really, really didn't sit well with me. That was a joke, by the way. I loved Margaritaville.
Well, I was going to say, if it didn't set with you, it was just those fried pickles.
It was just those potato skins. I'll tell you what. Now, I miss a good potato skin. Where was I?
See them like you used to. Like you used to see potato skins a lot of places.
Yeah, we were at.
Or maybe I'm not looking for them anymore.
Well, that's the most shocking revelation you have ever told me. I'm always looking for a potato skin. Always. And they had them at Serendipity 3 when Remy and I were there the other day in New York. On their starters list, they had potato skins, and they looked so good to me. And all the food at that place is really, really good. It's not like a Margaritaville where everything is just cutesy and the food is crap. It's not at all. The food is really, really good. And I almost said to Remy, "What about potato skins?" But because potato skins have gone away. And I don't know why she would be like, "What is that?" She would literally think it's the skin of a potato.
Yeah.
Which I guess it is.
But here's my thing with potato skins. And normally,
Stop. I'm going to write a book called "Here's My Thing with Potato Skins." Hold on, I gotta laugh at that. I've got to laugh at that. That would be a great title for a cookbook. Here's my thing with potato skins.
okay, most of the time, like if you order a steak and it's bigger than you expected, you're happy. If you order, fried shrimp and you get more shrimp than you expected. I don't like when you get a potato skin that has too much potato in it. Does that make sense? Like the topping and potato ratio gets messed up when they like cut a potato in half and put it on top. No, I'm not looking for a half loaded baked potato. I'm looking for potato skin.
It reminds me.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And it reminds me of a song that I have written called First World Problems, David Scott. First world problems when his potato skin has a super high ratio of potato.
Too much starch.
Too much starch. Okay.
Hey, actually, that gives me another great idea. Can someone keep track of these and send them to us?
Can somebody email me the line, here's the thing about potato skins?
How about a podcast or
I've heard this
or a
before.
show
Here we go.
that is literally called First World Problems, and it's all you talk about.
All you do is just
all this
gripe
cover.
about things that are like really nice to some people. Like,
Oh, that's
I don't know why this alarm on my home keeps beeping. That's a first world problem.
that's about half of the podcast out there already. Never mind. It's already
Speaking
been
of
done.
alarms that keep beeping, my parents remind me to get to the alarm that keeps beeping, but
Hey, before we are gone from the Morgan Wallen bar too quickly, Chris Young says there's a potential Margaritaville just left Las Vegas.
yeah.
And there's a potential that Morgan Wallen's bar could open there. That'd be I would think that would be a big deal in
Vegas?
Vegas. And with the way that
I would think a Donnie and Marie bar would be very big in Vegas, like a David Copperfield bar. But Morgan Wallen in Vegas?
the reason why I say that is, and again, we've never been big bar
Hoppers.
hoppers. If you say you've never been a bar attender,
You've never been in a bar. You've never been in a bar.
but
You've never even been in anything but a dry county.
but I feel like a large percentage of the clubs in Vegas are like this. So I think a more Americana style.
Yeah, you might be right about
I think
that.
that would give people going, oh yeah, we're not going to go to club so and so, because the reason why I say that is you always drive around or see these signs of these big DJs that
Right.
DJs at this and this DJs at this.
Kim Kardashian showing up at Club Tango.
But
That kind of thing.
So I think that would be good.
You might be right.
Now, I don't think this will be the case, but I don't know if y'all heard the story a couple of weeks ago where in my personal opinion, but also the small amount of facts I have in legal opinion,
You stop right there. Whatever you're going to say, personal opinion and small legal facts, and I already think it's wonderful.
The Nashville City Council were a little bit ridiculous when they barred the sign that Morgan was going to pull up. So evidently, I can't remember if we talked about this or not.
We didn't talk about it.
Evidently, they were putting a sign outside the bar like every other place in Nashville. The sign was very low key compared to
Very
some
low key,
of them.
actually.
And they denied it. But from what I read, they weren't denying it because it didn't meet some requirements, or it was too tall or too wide or too bright or whatever the case was. It was just because
Don't like
they
it.
didn't like him and they didn't think he should do this and blah, 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 blah. And it's fine to have your personal opinion, but that's not why you were elected to city council.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that he's going to leave Nashville because I'm sure that bar will do very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be a little bit funny if he did leave for Vegas.
Yeah.
To tell Nashville what he thinks. I read that
he hasn't come out and said one word about that.
I'm
sorry. Yeah, he did.
I read that Nashville's downtown Broadway, it's estimated that it brings in $10 billion a year.
Wow.
$10 billion.
You know, the only comment Morgan Wallen had was all he did, his mother commented. She commented. But he never said a word. All he did was post a drone picture that had been taken of the Nashville skyline.
Oh, his concert?
Over his concert in the arena that was packed full. That's the only.
Well, and it was
3 nights in a row.
3 nights in a row. He packed out Nissan. I think it's still Nissan Stadium. That packed out.
I call it Titans. The Titans house.
Titans field.
This is their house. Okay, listen, off of that. David and I go to dinner the other night. On Friday night, we end up going to dinner with my parents. I know y'all are going to be shocked. My kids and their loved ones, my kids and their dates, and then Noni and Poppy and my Aunt Melba. Okay? We go to Texas Roadhouse, where I should have looked for potato skins.
Oh, I bet they got him.
That might be a good place to grab a good potato skin. Anyway, we all order our food. Okay? Towards the end of the meal, the waitress comes back and she says, I mean, she's come back a million times, but she, okay, guys, I see that y'all are kind of starting to slow down, and don't forget we got dessert, or I can get takeout boxes or whatever. And my dad says, ma'am, could I get one thing to go, please? And she says, sure. And we're all quiet at the table because he's talking, we're all just kind of sitting there. And he says, I'd like a sirloin to go, cooked medium. And she goes, okay. And she's writing it down. It's just 1 sirloin to go, cooked medium. And she goes, and your 2 sides? And he says, I don't need sides or a drink. I don't need it like a meal, just a sirloin to go. And she goes, oh, okay. All right. And sweet as could be, and walks off. And if David is my dad, everyone went just like this. And just slowly turned their heads and all stared at him.
Because we all knew what it was at that point.
My dad was ordering a sirloin for his dog. Which leads me to ask the question.
And what did your dad say in all of his Jay Pritchardness?
I was sitting. Jay Pritchett is Jay from Modern Family, who they literally wrote that show about my dad. If you've ever watched Modern Family, doesn't matter what word comes out of his mouth, my dad has said it. I've never seen a character on a television show more like my father in my life. I said, you just got a sirloin for your dog? And he went just like this. He had his tea in his glass and he went, I've worked hard my entire life so that I could buy a steak for my dog. Everybody back off me. So David and I had actually split a meal. We had split a ribeye and a half thing of ribs. Okay. And I was going to eat 2 ribs and half of a ribeye. And he was going to eat 2 ribs and half of a ribeye. I ate a third of a ribeye and no ribs. So I said, well, then I'm going to take the rest of this to Shep. So I started cutting up my ribeye. And then Remy goes, I didn't eat all my steak. So she hands some to me. And Rocco goes, I didn't eat all my steak. And so everybody starts putting their meat on my plate and cutting it up. Well, right about that time, this family comes by. And he's like, my wife is a huge fan of yours, but she doesn't want to say anything. Is it okay if we stop by when she comes out of the restaurant? I said, of course. They come by right as everyone is giving me a piece of meat on my plate. My plate has probably 7 pieces of steak on it. Right as this family walks up to get a picture. I was absolutely mortified. But I take all of this home and then I just decide, well, why don't I just stop? Why don't I just stop feeding Shep dog food? What are y'all's thoughts on that? David says that's not good. No. they're not supposed to eat human food. But I've been feeding him human food ever since Friday night, and he seems to be taking to it fine.
Now
he likes scrambled eggs. And what I would do is I would take a little pieces of steak out of that bowl, out of that to-go carton, and mix it into some scrambled eggs. And then yesterday, I gave him some scrambled eggs, and I put a little dog food in with the scrambled eggs, and that's what he ate yesterday. I don't understand why that's a bad thing. Don't tell me no.
Well, there's a few things with it. One, it's going to be very expensive. But number two, there's a difference, I think, in like fresh food, and I know sometimes vets or animal experts will talk about fresh food can actually be better, like it doesn't have the processed element and all this kind of stuff. But there's still a lot of.
Well, Shannon said her dog hasn't eaten dog food in years. That she makes her dog chicken and veggies. Now, I have tried veggies with Shep, but he picks out all the carrots and doesn't eat them. And you know what? To that, I say, I don't blame you. Amy Roberry says, my mom fed her dog human food. The dog got really fat and had diabetes. Who are we talking about? The dog or us, Amy? The dog or us? Okay? So, I mean, I don't understand why that's a bad...
Maybe her mama shouldn't be fixing diabetic food.
For real. Would she feed him sundaes? Just chocolate sundaes all the time? The TikToks say to mix dry food and raw meat in your dog's bowl, but they really don't know. I don't have a dog.
No, ma'am. No, that will give them a bloodlust.
David, you have said that before. No, I'm so sure Shepherd's going to get a real... I don't think in good conscience I could give my dog raw meat. No, 100% no. I couldn't do it.
And I do feel like it really would start to change the dog. Like they're looking for that raw.
I would never give my dog raw meat. That is horrible. I mean, and I know that y'all's point to that is, back in the day, like if they kill a deer, a dog kills a deer and then they're eating it raw. But it's terrible to me. Wouldn't you like your meat seasoned and cooked? Okay, that's awful. I use Dr. Marty's to top off my dog's regular food. It's too expensive to give a full meal. I've never even heard of Dr. Marty's. That sounds like a pervy doctor in your town.
No, I think that's...
I give Dr. Marty's meat topping. That sounds like a pervy doctor.
No, I think that's... I think I've actually... When Nash was diagnosed with Cushing's like a year ago or something, and so I was trying to look at different foods and supplements and all that kind of stuff, and I think he's one of the it's not like you've heard Farmer's Dog is a big one, and I don't know, they got a couple of different brands that are kind of larger in the natural or real food section, and I think
to those of you listening on the podcast, David is using air quotes with his fingers for natural and real food. I don't know why you're using that. Is it not natural and real food?
It is. I just didn't know if I was using the right verbiage. I don't know if there's another verbiage.
Anyway, he took the sirloin home to Cooper. Everybody's happy about it. I took the leftover steak home to Shep and would feed Shep little bites of it while I also pop some in my mouth. These people, is that gross?
You popped the leftovers in?
I popped a couple of pieces of steak. I'm feeding my dog the same. That felt weird to me. I'm feeding my dog the same food I'm eating. But the people stopped by the table after, and they had sat us in this.
That was a very
odd table. It was they sat us in a half booth, half table. I can't even explain it, but needless to say, I'm stuck between my mother and my father. And
you are at least in the booth.
And David's sitting
I had to sit at a bar chair pulled up
to the table. It was very weird. But anyway, they want a picture. How am I going to give it? How am I going to give a picture? So they lean across the table, and I lean across the table as much as I can. And then they snap the picture. And behind them is my Aunt Melba going like this. All you see are her hands going like this. Okay? And then they post it on Facebook, I find out. Because someone then texts me and says, hey, I know this family. They're so sweet. And they posted this on Facebook, and she's just gushing about you, Melissa. And there's my plate of meat. As if Facebook needs another thing to make fun of me for. There is a heaping, helping plate of meat at my table. Y'all don't understand how much meat it was.
They said, "Oh, she's bringing back Atkins.
She's bringing it back. Melissa's doing the carnivore diet." Oh my gosh. No, I'm not. I'm doing the freaking Cooper gets a freaking sirloin. That is nuts.
Melissa loves when it's just the two of us, and this probably hadn't happened in a little while because I haven't cleaned my plate in a little while, but I cleaned my plate and she has a little bit left and she goes, "Do you want the rest of this?" And I'll say, "Okay." And so we'll switch plates.
I can't stand that.
So now she has an empty plate in front of her.
And he's a grown man still. Yeah.
And I love when the server comes, "Are y'all good? Can I take?" "Oh, I couldn't eat another bite." I don't know about her, but I couldn't.
I cannot stand it. And he does it every single time. And I fall for it. I'm like, okay. And I fall for it. Speaking of sitting between my parents, I also sat between them at church yesterday. David had to run the sound at all three services. And so I went to second service and I was sitting with Taylor because Rocco was running a camera and he has to run the camera during worship. But as soon as worship's over and the message begins, he could come sit down. So I was sitting with her when my parents came in and I can see them at the back door. Okay. The ushers have the doors open and people are still kind of in the lobby, like talking to each other. And I can see my mom going like this. Like she's looking for someone. And I said to Taylor, "Go out there and tell my mom Melissa's in here. I know she's looking for me." That is the universal sign, this right here, of I don't know where Melissa is. Because I had told them the night before, "I'm going to be by myself at church. Y'all come sit with me." And so Taylor went and got them. And I have to sit between her and my dad. And, my dad's a gentleman, but he really takes up a lot of the old space. So I had to sit like this during church. And then he looked at me in the middle of service and he said, "Your body language says you don't like one thing he's saying." And I said, "No, it's not that. I got nowhere to put my arms." And then afterwards I went to eat breakfast with them and it was just the three of us. And it was really nice because it's never just the three of us. And afterwards we went to go leave and I went to my car and they went to their car. And I kept wondering why my dad wasn't pulling out. It's like, what their lights are on. Why aren't they leaving? And a elderly couple had been walking out of the restaurant. And really elderly. Like he was probably in his 90s, looked really frail. And he had fallen over a curb. Is that what you call it? Your car pulls up in front of it. It's a little yellow thing. Your car won't go any further.
Yeah, it probably has a.
Yeah. Anyway, he'd fallen over it right beside my parents' car. My dad had rushed out to help him. And so when I went to go leave, I just kind of drove by to see, I was going to ask him, wave them, "What are y'all doing?" And my dad was out there with some Kleenex. Kleenex, I guess, and was wiping his face. Oh. And I walked up to the window and I tapped on the window and all of the air vents are blowing my mom's hair. And she went so my dad's wiping the blood off of an elderly man's face. And my mom is just like this. She rolls down the window. Zzz. I am burning up in this car. Her hair's just sticking straight out. And she said, "It is hot as blue blazes out here, Melissa.
Tell your daddy to get in here."
Tell your daddy to hurry up. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry, we caught you up on family. How's that? You like that? Okay, we'll be back tomorrow with some better stuff.
I find this rude that Emily Gibbs, she got on 22, 23 minutes late. And she goes, "Oh, yeah, I hadn't missed it. I haven't missed everything."
Okay, you missed it all.
You've missed it all.
You've missed it all. You don't even know that I'm going to soon have a cookbook coming out. All on the variations of potato skins. So to say you've missed it is, and also Kelly Monty said those are called parking blocks, but Denise Harlan said they're called car stoppers. Okay. You know what you are, Denise Harlan? You're a bar attender. If you don't know what that is, back this show up. Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you. Have a great day.
See ya.
Bye.